So, hey everybody, I'm gonna talk about basically do an intro to my two fantasy worlds, Amar, also known as Estaria, and Enambar. So, Enambar is the bigger of the two, not bigger, excuse me. Enambar's the smaller of the two, and is um total of four ages, around 4,000 years total for each one, and they have basically races are elves, men, primarily. There's no dwarves or anything like that. Um, and there isn't any there. It's more of an island landmass with little islands around it. Um, There's different. There's this very very small dwarven community in um which they li- live, and then there's neutral city and kingdom by the name of Ameria, and that is where the elven, where basically there's no crime, there's no um basically none of the things you'd find in a normal city when it comes to crime rate and stuff like that. And so that's sort of the gist of it, like basic info for Ameria, or not Ameria, for Enambar. For Asteria and Amar, it's different. And it's different in the fact that one is bigger. It's a total of 8 different ages, starting with the first two. The first one I have to look at my maps to remember what it's called. But the 1 year after that, that age is called the Age of the Elves. And then it's the first age, second age, third age, fourth age, fifth age, and sixth age. So the first, so it's total of 6 ages. And then the races within my fantasy world is men, elves, dwarves, and stuff like that. Any elf, there isn't any hobbits or halflings or anything like that. And that's just because I haven't found something that is similar to do that. So I've kind of X'd that out entirely. There's wizards as well, and there's a total, and each age is like 6,000 years. So they're much longer than Middle Earth ages. Um, we'll also talk about some Middle Earth stuff as well, but those will be completely separate videos. And so I've been trying to find something that where I'd written a whole bunch of information on my screenplays, among other things, and I was able to, and I ended up finding this. Because in here I have names and places, not places, this is more names, but like family trees, um gods and goddesses for my fantasy world, the different names, the different sicknesses that go around, and poisons, um, ideas, hills, islands, um, or in elven cities. Um, some of them are actually, and but it also includes other information in here. See if I can find it. So originally this was going to be a series. It still kind of is. It's I just changed it and stuff, but it includes Middle Earth ideas for screenplays. Um, and the permit cost to film in certain areas. So in Utah, in Idaho, Colorado, Kentucky, Washington, Oregon, Canada, New Zealand, Europe, and stuff. And I also put on there on the side the different where her name's mentioned in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I think that's what that is. I have to double check that actually. But it has like important dates, like when the Witch King attacked Rivendell in the Third Age, among other things. And then, but anyway, so that's what I've gone through. And then I have maps as well that I've been working on and getting done for it. Um, so the first character that I'm gonna talk a little bit about is Palmera. Palmera, she has an elven background or elven ancestry anyway. And so due to that, that pretty much like she gets this through both her mother side, Aranora, and her father's side, Aranar. Um, she is the youngest of her siblings. She has she has two older sisters who died in childbirth before after she was born, and then she has an older brother. And she and her older brother are actually quite close, and they have a pretty good relationship with each other. They live in a city by the name of Versua, and Versea, you know how you pronounce it, is a mortal city, no elves or anything there, and it's 10 levels. And each of the different levels is the steward and his family living at the top, and then there's the upper nobility all the way down to the very bottom. And there's gardens, there's inns, there's caverns behind the city which are forbidden for people to go into. And basically, if you go in those tunnels, you get in big trouble with the steward. And There is a and so basically her father is a well-known merchant who is well known within the city and also within the um, but also outside of it as well. Because when he was younger, his father took him north to one of the realms up there, and so he has two friends further that are further north in the kingdom neighboring where his wife is from. Aranora. Originally, I did not have a backstory for her. I do now. She is a princess of that neighboring kingdom and is married and marries Arnar um about 5 years or so before she gives birth to her first son, to her basically first child and only son, Dorian. And he is so Arnar is basically comes from a very quite wealthy family, he's a merchant, quite successfully as well. And that's something he's passed it down to his son. And basically, the steward comes to him and tells him that he has no choice, he has a year to find a match for his daughter, or else he will decide for him. Normally, the steward would not get involved when it comes to marriages. Um, Palmera's is an exception because she tends to be a little bit rebellious. And so, with being rebellious, he doesn't really like Arnar and his family at all. So, because of that, that is very much an incentive for him to kind of keep him within his sights. He aspires to spy on them and report back. Um, and then there's the Scarlet Swords, which is a group of thugs that live outside the city. They're originally from the south, and they are basically come from a royal line that got ousted um, a while ago before Palmyra was even born. And so I'll figure out the family trees because they are more complicated than Tolkien's. We'll just say that they're complicated. And so basically she has to decide. Basically, she has no choice. Palmyra doesn't have a choice in who she's going to marry. And at first, she is actually very much against the match. And that is mainly just due to the fact that she hasn't had experience. She hasn't met the person. And so and so basically due to that, since when she's younger, she's very much of a troublemaker, getting into trouble. But she kind of grows out of that, especially when she gets married. And it turns out that Dorian, even though he was told before, he pushed it to the back of his mind because he didn't want to think about it. Because, and so he's, when it gets closer to her leaving, he gets very, very vocal about his displeasure and not liking the fact that his sister is going to be married and further away, mainly due to the fact that he is close and he is protective of her. And so, due to that, it protective and pretty much comes to her aid, and is only due to her their father basically being like he needs to hold her own and stuff because you're not going to be there to protect her. That he's sort of like when she gets in trouble with her friend and stuff, he turns him over to the guards that are after her and her friend, and that is just due to the fact that he's trying to teach her how to get out of her own situations without his help because he won't be there to help and protect her like he has because she'll be cause due to the fact that she's gonna be further away than um where they live. Because basically from off the like the map them off the show where Sue is versus where she's moving to after she is married, or when she is married, because the marriage takes place up there. It's at least, depending on the route, a good 3 to 4 day ride. And so due to that, um, very much he wants her to be able to stand on her own, but he's very much worried that something is going to happen to her, and it actually does. I won't spoil it because this is the screenplay that I do plan on filming, along with a whole bunch of others. So, and so that's Palmera. And then there is Annelle. She's one of my elven characters. And Annelle, she is a healer and she very much does not like to fight. She basically, when she doesn't do it publicly. She doesn't, it's very different. Like, then, because she's not doing it for like revenge. And she doesn't do it for a lot of things. She basically does it for herself and to protect those that are close to her. And so the only two people that have actually seen her fight are her two brothers, Calmarin and Gwenar. Those are the only two that I've actually seen her pick up a sword, actually fight, and it's actually Calmarin who talks her out of fighting when their home is being attacked. Because he knows that she will, if she continues down that road, she is going to regret it because he's seen what it can do. And so, due to that, he talks her out of it and then later on talks her back into it because he goes and tells the High King at the time of the elves that his sister is a fighter, knows how to fight, and is a good leader as well, which she very much tries to convince him otherwise to not do it, not tell him that, but he does anyway, and so she ends up leading the armies at the end of the Second Age of Amar, Estaria. And so due to that, but she's well known for her healing abilities and her abilities to essentially heal, and like she only picks up a sword when she absolutely has to, and so and she takes in several kids. She has several kids. She has two twins that died during the first stage, and then she has 3 or 4 that survived to adulthood. The only elves that one of the only out of two elves that end up remarrying is Alanis, and who originally married Rundalin, and then remarries Estron, and then another character, and then I have another couple who do the same thing. But for the most part, most of my elves, they once their spouse passes, they don't usually remarry, especially if they do not have kids or if their kids are grown and have moved out, they don't remarry at all. Um, mm, want me to do these in costume? Feel free to comment below. It'll take longer for me to do that. And that is just due to the fact I need to make the costumes. And I have to do them on top of a number of other ones. But I plan on doing character videos. I plan on doing cosplay videos, a number of different videos that I will post on this channel. For both my fantasy worlds for Enambar and Estaria, as well as for Middle Earth. And I will be doing some Middle Earth videos and live streams as well, because I'm a big little Lord of the Rings nerd and fan, and I primarily cosplay Calibrian. I will be adding Silmarin to that list. Um, but one character that I definitely want to portray on screen is Cameron. And so I'm determined to figure out a way to make that happen. But I will do another live probably in a couple weeks. And I know